is the percentage you're growing week by week or month by month, as opposed to the actual raw numbers. So the raw numbers might be fluctuating quite a bit, but your growth rate should be fairly steady, and that should be the one you look at, not the actual numbers. I would really highly emphasize to spend time thinking about the growth rate versus the actual growth in terms of raw numbers. And if I would always spend time thinking about the growth rate on a daily or weekly basis. Like this is I think Y Combinator today even look at that, what is your daily or weekly growth rate? That's kind of something that they didn't do 5-6 years ago, but they do today. And your growth rate will wash out all kind of things that aren't really true. If you get featured in the App Store, which a lot of companies aspire to be, it's great for that week you get featured and you get a lot of downloads. It doesn't really say anything about your long-term growth because you haven't really figured out anything that is compounding. Once you figure out something that compounds, where let's say every new user you get another user, or every time someone scans a wine, you get another person finding that wine online, or whatever. It could be so many different things that compounds, but you can only find those when you actually track the growth rate versus tracking the actual raw growth, like the raw numbers. So compounding growth is where is basically the other side of growth rate. So if you going back to that App Store example, you get featured, you get 100,000 downloads. Then the day you are not featured anymore, you're not going to have 100,000 downloads again. You're going to go back to some number close to zero. If you get 100,000 downloads, and that's coming from a source that's a compounding growth source, then you're probably going to have 100,000, 100,001, 2, 3 years. You can keep growing because the nature of that growth source. This is how you grow. And to find out if you have compounding growth, it's just track the source of growth through growth rate. So say, what's the growth rate of people coming in through referrals, or people coming in through SEO, or people coming in through some other source? What's that growth rate? And you pretty fast can understand that being featured is not compounding growth, and a great referral program where you incentivize users to invite their friends, it could be a compounding growth rate. Because let's say you have some number around 20-30% of your users will tell their friends about the product. If you have 1 million users, then that's a lot more users going to tell their friends about the product versus if you have 10,000 users. So that's the difference between compounding growth and not compounding. Voxer was a great product, and Voxer started off taking advantage of kind of walkie-talkies and a way of communicating that people already knew and was familiar with. I think when they started Voxer, I wasn't there from the very beginning. They had an idea of how people use it, but we didn't have the name Voxer walkie-talkie at the time. So we actually ran some tests and figured out what are ways some people understand this product, and that's how we came to the name walkie-talkie. And then every other app that was doing something similar also called themselves walkie-talkie a few weeks later. The two things we figured out at Voxer was having friends, or the number of friends you have and how close you are to them, is a strong indicator on how active you're going to be on the service. And when someone signs up to Voxer, the correlation has to happen on the sign-up day. So how many days you have at sign-up, and this is not a brand new thing, something that we learned and saw that's very true at Facebook as well. So Facebook had this theory of how many friends do I have in a certain number of days after sign up, and that's very true at Voxer as well. So trying to find you friends as soon as possible on the service, and trying to make them be close to you, trying to find friends that were important to you. I think that was something we found out, and then I would say, spent the next 6-8 months just trying to optimize that, getting more people to find more friends. Well, that can start with, how do you find friends? Well, you can be automatically matched with a friend. So if I have a phone number, you have an address book, then you might find me, or I might find you, by just doing some basic matching. And you can try to optimize the number of people giving you phone numbers and give you address books to increase that number. And people get really excited when that happens. So if you sign up to Voxer and you have 20 friends, you get pretty excited. If we also tell those 20 friends that you signed up, and some of those 20 friends Vox you back right away, and within the first minute of using Voxer, you have 1 or 2 or 3 voice messages from someone you never heard before. That's a really good user experience. First time use experience, you hear the voice of somebody you haven't heard for months or years. That was one thing that we spent some time on. The other thing we spent time on was making it very, very easy to invite people. Obviously, a lot of invites happen word of mouth. I'll just tell you to Voxer, but a lot of invites just happen actually in the app. So we spent quite some time optimizing that flow as well, and trying to understand which invites that worked. And at the time, there was not that many A/B testing frameworks. This took a long time. It's not something you can just like iterate every day. You have to do a new app releases. We have to build our own tools to test these things. It was fairly simple. We just made it really easy. It was very well understood that if you have friends, then that's a strong indicator of you. The more friends you have, the more likely you are to talk to someone. So that was pretty well understood. People make a mistake of, I think sometimes growth is about making it unbelievably simple. Like just put things in front of you. If you want people to do something, just tell them that you should do that. So we just told people like invite friends, and we didn't hide it under some settings menu. We put it right at the front, and we actually tracked that. We tracked the difference between putting invite friends 1 level down or 2 level down, and we know that the difference is dramatic. Like if you put things in front of people, or at the right time. So let's say if you don't have any friends, and the only thing you see is invite new friends, then you're more likely to do that. I think timing is really important, like the right moment for when you ask someone to do something, and be very clear about what you're asking them to do. And both those things were they worked.